YouTube, how's it going? Hoyne Park here with another weekly Power Rankings video. We start off with the Jets at number 32. There's no shocker there. Similar to number 31, I have the Cowboys. My first move for the bottom tiers is to move the Broncos down to number 30. The reason why I have them at 30, not 31, is because the Cowboys had a lot of bad games this season. They only had one good game, and that was recently against the Pittsburgh Steelers. No, when I mean good game, I'm referencing after Dak Prescott got hurt. And they only had one good game post the Dak Prescott injury, and that was against the Steelers. And I don't think it's meritable to be at the number 30 spot. I moved the Texans down to 29 for a similar reason. However, I do think they're doing better than the Broncos overall. Justin Herbert did really well, but he just can't win the games on his own. They need Joey Bosa back. They need to finish games. The Jacksonville Jaguars did really well against Green Bay, but just not enough to win. The Eagles lost the divisional game, a very important game at that, especially since both the Eagles and the Giants are now contending for the playoffs. The Washington football team with the wrong logo that I absolutely despise almost won today, and they almost won last week, so I think they're meritable to move up a bit, especially since they're also in contention with the Eagles. I think it can go either or, but because they almost won today in a better fashion than the Eagles, I just have more faith to put them up at 25. I moved the Panthers down 2 spots. They lost really badly to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the team's strong, but overall, they need to get their stuff together. They should focus on draft picks. I moved the Patriots up 5 spots from last week. They put on a really strong performance in the run game. However, it was during a very bad storm, and I think that they have the edge overall with discipline in the storm conditions. And I don't know if it would have been the same had the playing field been clear, if they would have beaten the Ravens. However, they had a really good win against the Ravens today, and that's why I'm moving up 5 spots. I don't feel confident moving up any higher because some of the teams are just performing better overall, but kudos to the Patriots for not throwing in the towel, as I would have done if I was Bill Belichick. I move the Giants up a whopping 8 spots. I think the Giants really deserve this move. I have not given them the respect they've been deserving. I see it now. I think the Giants are moving in the right direction. Surprisingly, because they don't have Shaquan Barkley, and their general manager is an absolute idiot. But I think their coaching staff is actually doing a pretty good job. I have the Falcons at 21. I didn't move them up or down. They're in a bye week. I only moved the Bengals down 2 spots. They lost to the Steelers. That's a very strong team. The Bengals didn't do as well as I'd like them to, and I think that I even could move them down 1, but it is what it is. I don't think these bottom 20 spots even matter, to be honest. I have the San Francisco 49ers moving down a spot. They had a pretty bad loss today as well, especially since I have a few plays on my fantasy team. So they're not the same without Jimmy Garoppolo. I have the Lions moving up 1 spot. They won by a field goal against the Washington football team. At the time of recording, I have the Vikings versus Chicago. I'm not sure who's going to win tomorrow, but with respect to the top tier list of this power rankings, I don't think it matters. Personally, I think the Vikings might win, but it's interchangeable. It can be either Bears at 17 or Bears at 15, depending on who wins. Browns barely won, so there's nothing much to go with the Browns. And it's crazy too because there's a big cutoff here. There's a 3-win versus like 6 losses, and then this is like 6 wins and 3 losses. So whether they win, I would probably move the Browns up to 15 and the Vikings up to 16. But it's just so minimal, so I don't feel like having to watch the football game to make this video. I have the Titans moving down to 14. Yes, 14. They lost really bad on Thursday night, and I think that the other 13 teams are just doing better, so I had to move them. Not much change in the top 10, but it's just crazy to see other teams like the Titans get bumped down. For number 13, I moved the Raiders up 1 spot. They're a 6-3 team, and again, all these teams are almost basically 6-3. So it's crazy to see this in the midseason. I don't think I've seen this in the past, so it's really crazy. It's just a deep class this year. Seahawks moved down from the 8th spot. They had another loss this week. They just got to get their stuff figured out. The Rams, they beat the Seahawks. I just moved them up by 2 spots. I'm not really sure how else to move the Rams. I think this is appropriate. Number 10, I have the Colts. Colts beat the Titans. I gave them their old spot from last week, so they move up a spot. The Bills lost to the Cardinals this week. I still think it's a pretty good team. They're a 7-3 record. Their defense is pretty great. They almost won. They lost by 2 points, so I didn't think I'd penalize them too hard. I think they're better than the Colts, and their win to loss ratio is also better. So I kept them at 9. Cardinals, I move them up from 11 from last week, 3 spots. I think the Cardinals are a pretty strong team overall. I moved the Baltimore Ravens down 3 spots after losing to the Patriots. The weather conditions were atrocious. I don't think it was too much on the Ravens. Just lack of discipline. Very slippery ball. I know that Lamar Jackson fumbled the ball, or the snapper fumbled the ball when snapping. So just a really bad weather condition game. Who knows if they would have won if the weather's more clear, but they lost. So I moved them down 3 spots. I moved the Dolphins up to the 6th spot. The Dolphins are a real team contender. I think a lot of people were thinking they would play well, and they overhyped it. And I think the Dolphins are living up to the hype. Tua Tagovailoa is playing very amazingly. The defense is definitely not the same defense from last year. The team is overall just looking so complete. I love watching them play. So great team overall. I have the Green Bay Packers number 5. You got to put respect in Aaron Rodgers' name. They're definitely in contending for the Super Bowl. I'm gonna say it now. Number 4, I moved the Buccaneers up a couple spots from last week. They had a very promising win. I think that last week may have been a fluke. Who knows? But I still think they're a very strong team. They have Antonio Brown, some of the best wide receivers in the game. They have one of the best quarterbacks in history. A very strong tight end, very strong running back group. What? Who knows what happened last week? I had to put them above the Green Bay Packers just because they beat the Packers by such a huge point difference, similar to how they lost to the Saints by such a huge point difference. But overall, I think that the Buccaneers are a really strong team. I have the Saints at number 3. Not much change there. Still a strong team overall. People are going to get mad, but at this point, I really don't think it's necessary to get that mad. They almost lost to the Cowboys last week. They had a strong win against the Bengals, who are in the bottom 20. So lately, their wins haven't been super impressive when they're weak teams, and they have won where it mattered. But at the same time, the Chiefs beat better teams at a better ratio. They beat the Ravens by a higher point difference. They almost lost to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys were playing so poorly for a couple of weeks. So I just don't see the reason to move Kansas City down. And that's my Week 11 power rankings. Please let me know what you think. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you have any comments on teams you like to see moving up? I'd love to hear your reviews, and I always read them. Thank you for watching.